Today's workshop is about the yoga headstand or the Sirsasana. So we will be approaching this lesson progressively, which means I will be discussing and sharing insights about not just physical alignment, but of course the breath, preparatory elements, compulsory elements, pitfalls, precaution, and lots of safety. You don't want to be hurt. So there's really little room for mistake when you're learning this. So you have to make sure that you are ready, you are in control of all action, and definitely that would only happen if you work progressively. So I will be sharing with you how it happened to me, how I learned it. And it took really a long time, actually. There's really no need to rush. You are practicing at home, there's no competition here. Alright, so you will enjoy the element over a long time and not just once in practice. So when we're working self-awareness, actually we serve our own nature. We serve our own purpose. And that's very meaningful. Alright, now, yoga headstand before it happens, and actually not just yoga headstand, all other advanced elements that you will be practicing later on would require some levels of strength and flexibility of our upper structure, particularly of the upper back and the shoulders. The hips would have to be able to perform some deep flexion as well, but not really necessary, because later on I will be giving you some tips on how you can adapt to some flexibility issues of the hips. Alright, because my hips weren't that flexible when I was starting, but somehow, by using the core, we will be able to actually adapt and then address the flexibility issue of our hips. Now, so what are the preparatory elements or components needed for this inversion to happen safely and lightly on top of your other elements in the practice? Alright, the Bakasana, or the position of the crow. This one, when you're pressing forward. In here, if you notice, the hips enjoy the freedom and ease bending. But no worries about, for example, the ankles have some flexibility issue. No worries, as long as you can, work on the upper back strength. Now, this is more important actually. You should be able now to practice the Bakasana with lightness and breath and shifting energy. Or the shifting energy principle. I've posted quite a few tutorials about the Bakasana, so you might want to take a look at them so you can learn this element separately. This one, you should be able to breathe through it and then lift your hips and the rest of your lower body as one, together with the breath. This one, inhaling, and you should be able to lightly suspend up, without losing the integrity of the breath, which is more important, and you should be able to hold this very light. And of course, you should be able to release and then exit the position light as well. Because the process of going in and out of the headstand is about similar. For example, that one becomes very light already, so you also have to work on the mobility, and the dynamism of the hips, because those movements where we move actively, for example, jumping forward, jumping back, you might not be able to float yet, it's alright, because those elements are really effective in developing organic core strength. When I say organic core strength, it means the inner musculature and not just the external structure. Alright, so it means a type of strength which is light and then flowing and then fluid. So you might be adding this component as well in practice. You may not be able to hang or float. You may not be able to hang like this. No worries. What's important is you should be able to jump lightly, something like this, like that. So when the jumping forward action or active movements become light, then you may want to explore this yoga element, the Sirsasana. Before we do the lesson, benefits first. Let's talk about the benefits so you can assess if this is really would be serving your purpose and your intention and your goal to practice. Actually, the headstand, right, and all the elements are organic expression of your practice in general. Right? Generally, this will just happen. But of course, there should be like a platform for you to learn, like external structure, alignment, the breath. But generally, once you're able to feel the lightness of the position, and you're able to hold the initial setup and the initial progression, then the rest of the practice will just be flowing in the future. You don't have to actually learn it. They will just happen organically. But somehow you have to learn the specific platform and preparatory, especially the safety. All right, now benefits. Number one, the headstand, well, speaking firsthand, it's really good for us to drain our system. All right, not just the limbs, not just energetic pathways, but also it's good for digestion. Really good way to promote, together with the breath regulation, healthy digestion. So if you're feeling sluggish or heavy, and in the future if you become very efficient with the headstand, you might add the headstand to cleansing and draining practice. All right. So the headstand is also very meditative, definitely, because your mind is so focused on the element you're doing that it clears off any external destruction. So it's very meditative. It's a way for us to stay really fully present. The headstand is also a good expression of energy locks, because when you're holding a headstand, it's like another way of investigating how you could apply your energy locks or the bandhas. And of course, it's very strengthening. It's strengthening in a way that you don't muscle it, strengthening in a way that you are strengthening the whole of your structure, inside and out. And of course, the breath will have flow as well, and many other benefits. You can just research on them. All right, contraindications, definitely. This is not a beginner's position. This would happen maybe really depending, maybe after a year or two of your basic practice, when those elements I mentioned a while back becomes light already, then you can practice this one. All right. Other contraindications include heart conditions, hypertension, glaucoma, vertigo, detached retina, diabetes, anything or any conditions which require you to be very careful with controlling the breath and putting pressure inside your vital organs. Please work progressively and always seek guidance of a teacher. All right, menstruation, all right, definitely. Not for pregnancy, especially if you have not done this before, but for some people who've done this many years already, you could always practice this and manage all the limitations and conditions I've mentioned safely and lightly. All right, now let's go straight to practice. Now, position of the arms. All right. So the positioning of the arms. For some people, they learn it with the palms open, but I want my fist closed because this will add more stability to the position, because you will actually use the palms of the wrist. You will be using the hands to create a little bit more of that, not really balancing, but to stabilize. To stabilize the rest of your upper structure, because this will become the foundation of the position. All right, so double fist like that, and you may want to flatten, the pinky, so not on top of the other, like they're flat, like that, so it becomes like a flat surface. Now from there, so the elbows will not go very wide, so the elbows would just go maybe a little bit narrower than the shoulders, all right, or a shoulder distance, wide. Not very wide. Why? Because if the shoulders or the elbows are very wide, so there might be a possibility that you might lose the balance and you might shoot over. All right, because the elbows here will become actually light, another stabilizing element. So you can actually work on the triangle, to stabilize the whole of the structure. So you're not putting the pressure here. You're not putting the pressure in the neck, and the rest of your upper spine. That's why we have to neutrally open so you can breathe, you can relax, you can hold it more lightly when you're hanging upside down. All right, so that's the structure of the arms. All right, now place the forearms down the ground. All right, and the next element, the setup and how do we actually prepare the body, specifically the spine, the hips, using the breath. All right, now from there, curl the toes behind. So the forearms will lightly press down and forward, like you want to lengthen the mat to the front. You're going to feel the bones of the forearms and the elbows stabilize your foundation. All right, and then you're going to do that together with the hips rising up. Inhale. All right, now the upper arm will press back and up, so you're clearing the shoulders off the floor, and then that will ripple up to the side trunk, moving longer, and then the hips rising up behind you. All right. Don't point your hips. All right, so your hips remain neutral, especially if you're lacking the flexibility. You can even bend the knees, because the hips later on will be scooping the hips under actually. So you don't want to pike it like that. So that's one of the pitfalls. You don't want to be pointing the hips, because if you point the hips, I will be explaining this later on, there might be a possibility that you might roll over. You might overshoot it and then you might crash. Now, the hips being neutral will actually stabilize your position more. That's inhale. See that? Inhale. Good. Now, when do we actually place the head down? Where do we actually position the head? And how much pressure should you apply when you place the head down? All right, this is very important, really very important. All right, first, the position. The head should, you will be placing not really the tops of the head onto the floor, but a little bit below it, a few inches or maybe 2 fingers distance on top of the tip of the forehead, somewhere here, not really at the top, here. Right, so that's number 1. Number 2, how heavy? Right. It's as light as your hand resting on your head. That's how light the head should feel. All right, it's called headstand, but actually the head is barely touching the floor. It's really here. Now, the foundation, strength of the upper back, and of course the breath. All right, that is very important. All right, those elements are very important. Why? Because you don't want to be putting the pressure here. You don't want your neck to shorten. All right. Number 3. All right. So we place the head will come down the last. All right. So to make it more clear, let's do and combine those previous elements all together. Forearms. Inhale, press away. All right. If you're lacking the flexibility, open your feet and move the legs a little bit wider and soften. And then exhale, loosen. All right. Now, inhale, inch your feet forward all the way to the tops of the mat. Bend your knees if you need. But you want to press away so you're clearing your shoulders off the earth. All right. Now, if you cannot inch forward anymore, if you feel that the shoulders become heavy already, that's an indication that you're ready to place the head down. So the head will be the last to touch the ground. All right, there. Let's try again. All right, from here, you may want to open the throat forward first. All right, loosen. All right, breathing in. Good. Exhale. Now, inhale, inch your feet forward. Press away. See that? You push away. Clear your shoulders off the floor. Bend your knees if you're lacking the flexibility, so you can slide your hips back. So the hips slightly scoop under. Place the head down, very light, and then inch your feet forward. All right. So this is the drill. Inhale, mildly rock up. Exhale, down. Inhale, rock up. All right. I want you to pay attention here.
Pay attention down the hips and the legs. Inhaling. Alright, so the rest of the lower back, the hips, the thighs would have to come together and move together as one piece, as one unit. Alright, from there, coming forward. Alright. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. Alright, now you want to keep lightly pressing away so the neck is light. Alright, now for example, if that is not happening, alright, if you cannot keep the hips and the rest of your lower body together and the lightness of the shoulders while you are doing that, it means only one thing: you are not ready. Alright. So how brutal it may sound, we have to back off if those elements of lightness and space and ease are not happening. Alright. Back off and work your fundamentals again. If you need to go back many times over, really doesn't matter, there's no rush, there's no competition, go back. Alright, so the risks are far greater than the benefits if you force yourself. Alright, really very true. Now, going back. From there, alright, if this becomes light already, alright, now how do we enter the headstand using the breath? Inhale, and at the top of that inhalation, you will actually feel light. And then you're lifting your hips up, but don't bounce it over the shoulders. So something like this, right? Exhale down, all right, breathing in, like that. So you're lifting your hips and the rest of your lower body all at once, all right? Pitfall, yeah, you don't want this. Watch my hips. Like the hips spike, and then really go really high over the shoulders. Actually, this will feel light, all right? And then you can just do this, yeah, like when you become very efficient with the element of using the course. You need to develop first confidence of using this. And then later on, when you become very efficient with the technique, you can just play around the element. So the beauty of the hips not being too high and over the shoulders is this. What if, for example, you lose it? Alright. So there is really no risk of you collapsing over because the hips are already behind you. So for example, now you lose it, you can just bring yourself back down to the ground without you falling over. Alright. And that's really a safe way. Alright, while at the same time serving the purpose of strengthening organic core strength. Alright, so you should be able to hold that position confidently and then stay there. Again, this is just an expression of the whole of the practice in general. So hang, stay here. Alright, and then sort out the breath, feel the breath. You should be able to breathe confidently here, without you feeling any pressure in the shoulders, the neck. Alright, and then you may even open your legs a little bit wider. So, can you see the similarity of this with this one? So, that's why I really encourage you to do the Bakasana, because somehow when you're upside down, they feel actually the same. How we engage the core and how we actually use not just the strength, the flexibility of the shoulders, but also that shifting energy. Yeah, the shifting energy. What happens when we breathe in? Actually, when we breathe in, we shift forward a bit more, and when we exhale, the body hugs towards the central axis, and it's really a good way for you to feel the manifestation of the energy inside. And then stay there. Don't rush. All right. You don't want to be kicking. All right. Yes, kicking into the headstand is very dangerous. This one. Actually, I don't know how to kick. But I will try. This one. You don't want that. All right. Number 2. You have to lift your body all at once and not one side at a time. You don't want this as well. No.
It's not serving the purpose. How harsh it may sound, no. Alright, what's the purpose? You might reason out that, oh yes, I just wanted to feel how it is upside down, maybe once or twice, but you don't want to be developing the habit. Let's move on. Now, the progression is actually, for example, you become light with that already. Now you're ready now to lift your legs all the way up to the vertical. But you will approach this from the perspective of steadiness and full control and awareness. That pitfall. You don't want,
now for example here, you don't want this and then lift the legs all the way up. No.
Why? Alright, you're spending too much unnecessary energy doing that. Alright, and then your mind becomes too distracted. Alright, again, it's not just balancing. This element should be approached from steadiness, stillness, and confidence. Yeah, so, for example, you become efficient with the technique I've shared it.
With the knees bent like this. Alright, now, to go to the full position, you don't approach this from this and then you rise. No.
Yeah. The progression is different. The progression is actually you're lifting. You have the hips and the legs all at once towards the upright position. So this becomes a little bit more challenging to learn. So what do I mean when I say that? Now from there, set up, inhale, exhale, breathing in, place the head down. Alright, from there, you're going to inhale and then you're going to lift your legs and the rest of your hips high to the vertical. So see the hips? Alright? So I'm not piking the hips. Yeah? So I'm approaching this from the perspective of that first progressive element, which is the core. Good. And here you should breathe. Yeah? The breath should flow. Yeah, the breath will show. Keep pushing and then clearing your shoulders off the floor. Yeah? So the head is light. Alright. So how do you release a headstand? Alright. The release is an inhalation. Yeah. So to release, inhaling. But why do we inhale when we release? So we want to keep the spine open and then light. So the breath rises up to the hips. And then if you're lacking the flexibility, bend the knees again. See the hips and the rest of your lower body. Yeah, moves as one unit. Exhale, toes to the ground. Yeah. So did you know? I mentioned in the last workshop that when you enter the yoga headstand, you have to lift your whole structure as one unit, as one piece. The hips and the legs, they should come together, they should go and move together all at once. Alright, so you don't want to be kicking. Why? Kicking could be dangerous, especially if you overdo it and you might collapse. You don't want to be lifting one side at a time as well, because if you do that, you're merely balancing. Yeah. The one of the goal of yoga is to actually keep the integrity of the whole structure, the steadiness of the movement, and full control, and of course with the use of our organic core strength. So especially if you're lacking the flexibility. So how do we address the issue now? So helpful ways for us to use yoga blocks, yeah, or anything you can find at home so you can create more space under your feet. That way, we keep the rest of our structure open, the shoulders open, the neck open, the spine, the hips can move, so we could breathe. That's one of the challenges of holding the yoga headstand. Actually, even when you enter it and exit the position, the breath somehow gets a little bit tight because your weight is pouring down, especially if you're lacking the flexibility. So with the blocks and the props assisting us, we could keep the space inside our body open, so we can breathe. Yes, alright, so everything is the same actually, the setup. It's just that we will be placing your feet on top of the block now before we enter the position. Now, so really suit your structure. If you're lacking the flexibility, maybe send the blocks a little bit further back. If you feel the need to adjust forward, yeah,
Sirsasana. Alright, from here, same. Alright, you may place the knees on top of the block first. Yeah. And place the forearms to the ground, same. Alright. Always make room for adjustment if necessary, if relevant. Alright, inhale, press away, open lightly the throat up. Good. And then inch your feet forward. Yeah. If the block's too far, yeah, release the position, adjust the blocks further back. Yeah. And let's repeat. Breathing in. Alright. The feet up first. Yeah. The head is the last to descend. And then inch your feet forward. Alright, before you lift the structure, inhale, shift forward. And you're lifting your hips up. Yeah. Good. Soften the legs, don't tighten the legs. Yeah. Everything the same as the principles we discussed in the workshop. Hang. Alright, to exit, inhaling lightly, land your toes in the block. Alright, exhale, place your knees in the block, and inhale. Yes, so that's how we work the first progression. If that becomes very light already, you may want to try the full position. If you try the full position, so there's a little adjustment because you have to keep your feet together, but don't squeeze them. So you might bring the blocks a little bit closer together as well. Alright, and then eventually, definitely, at this stage, when you're ready to lift your hips and the legs or arms all together, you would have developed that flexibility already. So, but still, if you need the block, always utilize the space. Alright, from here, same. Do a little bit of that preparation. Soften, inhale, push away, clear the shoulders off the floor. Toss to the block. Place the head down. Now, inhale, shift forward, and then you're lifting lightly up into your yoga headstand. No pressure at all. The space remains open. So you can breathe light. The lungs can breathe. There's no pressure in the neck. Good. Now find the legs, keep the legs relaxed, hips relaxed, right aware, good. And then to release, inhaling. If the low back feels short, you can shorten and then bend the knees and place the toes onto the block, then knees to the floor, inhale and release the position. Yes. So that's how helpful the blocks could be when we're learning the elements, and keep the principles intact. Especially if you're lacking the flexibility of the hips. Yes, but make sure, before you do this drill, you tackle as well and learn as well the preparatory and the compulsory elements leading to this progression. So that is one way for you to learn the headstand, using the core, using the breath and the awareness, and really not rushing. Because the beauty of this journey is actually in between the breakthroughs. So that instance when you are holding and suspending with your hips closed, and then you're sorting out and then feeling the core, and then you'll just be surprised that one day the legs will just go up straight, without you actually working on it. So that's really the beauty of it, and that's where the deeper realization, that's where the seed energy makes its presence felt. So you can use that realizations, the nervous system remembers the sensation, and you will be able to apply the same principle, not just in the headstand, but all other elements in the practice later on, even when you meditate towards the latter stages of the practice. Yes, so practice safely. Always I am in the safety side of the practice, so you can enjoy it long time and not just once. All right, see you in the next tutorial. Namaste.